Hey everyone, my name's Trapixium, and this week is gonna be a fun one. Alright, so, Alara, and the Conflux event. The first plan the Elder Dragon Planeswalker Nicol Bolas ever concocted to regain his pre-mending power. Now, the plane we are on is weird. I mean, Lorwyn weird. Okay? So, it's like this. Alara used to be a huge plane, but after an event called the Sundering, Alara was shattered into shards. Those shards were Naya, the wild jungle full of animals who worship beasts. Jund, a world of active volcanoes full of ravenous monsters where humans fought dragons to survive. Also, the place was full of savages. Grixis, a world of hatred, death, darkness, and the undead. Esper, a world of artifice, where everyone is modified with Ethereum, and Bant, a world of knights, angels, lion mounts, and castles, a true knight's paradise. And this is the Alara Bunch. Alara itself, as a concept, is quite interesting. It was a plane, yes, but within that plane were 5 shards, each of them being different from the other. Let's get into the history before I get ahead of myself. The world of Alara was once whole, and all 5 colors flowed through the plane in fantastic ways. A lot of the time, the colors flooded together beautifully. It was a symphony of magic. This world was one of balance, until the Sundering took place. No one knows the cause, but some ancient lore from the plane states that it was a godlike being who tried to take the mana for itself. Others claim it was a fight for the fate of Alara, waged by the Archangel Asha against the demon dragon, Malfagor. But regardless, Alara was torn to pieces, and all that remained were 5 shards. As time went by, the shards became vastly different places. Each plane was cut off from 2 of the given colors of mana. Jund, for example, lost its connection to blue and white mana, keeping only red, black, and green. After thousands of years, the shards grew to be completely different places. It was only a matter of time before something forced them back together. That something is Nicol Bolas. Alright, so, context. After the mending, Bolas set about finding new ways to re-establish his pre-mending power. 25,000 years of arcane knowledge gone, and Bolas wanted it back, so he went to the Alaran Shard of Grixis and calculated and planned. He knew the merger was coming, and prepared to absorb the mana that would be generated from the event. But he would need the Maelstrom to be at its absolute strongest. The only way he could think to make that happen would be via mass manipulation across the shards. Destabilizing civilizations, inciting fear, and forcing troops to the edge of their own respective worlds. Bolas wanted full-scale war so that while all of those who could protest would be too distracted to notice that their plane's obelisk would be activating, subsequently giving the Maelstrom more power. The time has come for the plane to be brought back together. And as the conflux came on and the worlds collided, people went to war. Civilizations were razed to the ground, the Conflux Wars began, but the thing of note at the colliding point of all 5 shards was a storm of mana, a chaotic cavalcade of colors, and raw magic known simply as the Maelstrom. Bolas managed to get really close to regaining his power if it hadn't been for the albino Leonin, a Johnny Goldbane. Jazal died and become collateral damage and destabilization of the communities of Naya, and wanted revenge. Since he couldn't kill his brother's true murderer, he would have Bolas instead. He nearly gotten all the mana from the Maelstrom, who was almost a god again. Ajani managed to absorb the last bit of the Maelstrom the dragon hadn't gotten to yet. And with that little bit, Ajani managed to create a mirror image of Bolas' soul in front of the dragon. The battle took place in perfect symmetry, and in the flash of light, Bolas had disappeared. With that flash of light, the plane was won. The former shards put back into their correct space 2,000 years before the Sundering, and it showed. The seaside citadels of Bant right next to the bone-carved necropolises of Grixis. The world sits in chaos. Cultures and differences divide the plains more than the Sundering ever could have possibly. The forces of Grixis seek new slaves and new victims to maim and torture the armies of Bant, who seek protection from their angels against their new horrors. Whatever remain of the 9 elves heed the Anima's decrees to march out of the jungle as the forces of Esper search for the Karmat to forge more Ethereum, while the warriors of Jund use the world as proverbial hunting grounds in search of their greatest kill, that of the newly reawoken Hydra god from Genedis. With the soul of the world returned, Alara's maelstrom rages on. The world of Alara is an interesting paradox. After a world of separation, it was reunited, just to not function as it used to. These parts no longer fit together. These puzzle pieces are not missing parts, rather they've grown new ones. They have moved on, and now they have been forced back together. The world couldn't be in more disarray. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you think Alara will eventually resolve its differences and turn back to a place of peace? Or do you think Alara will now forever be at war with itself? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and if you want to revel with me and Xenagos as we carve our way through the multiverse, hit that subscribe button. We put out new videos here every week, and until next time, may the Lotus watch over you.
Ha ha ha!